Temptation played a big role in my life, and I'm sure it has in yours too. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing everyone to be here this morning. I pray that you use me to deliver these women and speak through me. Give me the courage to speak clearly and finish strong. Amen. So, about a week ago, I had a friend come and pray for me just because she felt the need to. When she approached me, she began to cry. She held my hand, but she wasn't talking. After a few minutes, she said I was praying for a word, but he gave me a vision instead. She said, I see you behind Jesus. He's cutting down trees, making a path. If you leave the path, you run into sticks and stones, and you fall. But if you stay behind him, it's clear. So if you keep your eyes on Jesus, then there's no sin too great for him to handle. Temptation is everywhere. Some in your life could be peer pressure, drugs, alcohol, sex, and just trying to be like everyone else. Overcoming temptation is hard, and Luke 22:46 says, why are you sleeping? He said, get up and pray so that you do not fall into temptation. When I was about 9 years old, my parents split. I moved 6 hours away from a whole other life that I was living. I let the devil whisper lies that no one could ever love me because the only example I had failed. I let this hurt consume me, and it was so much easier for the devil to tempt me. He started off by using things I wanted in life, like relationships and friends and love. I was lost. I was completely trapped in the devil's temptation. At such a young age, I thought that the only way to numb the pain was with worldly things. That void and empty feeling can't be filled with the world. The things of this world cannot compare to what God can give you. We shouldn't let our friends tempt us into doing bad things. And if they were really our friends, they would. We should try surrounding ourselves with more godly people and remembering that there's nothing too big for God to handle. In the very beginning, there was temptation. Genesis 3:6 says, when the woman saw that the fruit was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took it and ate of it. Her husband did also. Adam allowed his wife to tempt him into eating that fruit when he knew only evil could come of it. When Eve ate it, I'm sure she had a thought pattern like, should I really be doing this? Is this right? Just like everyone here. Afterwards, they were immediately ashamed of what happened, but God never intended us to have this feeling. In my life, I felt this way a lot. When I was 13, I allowed a friend to tempt me into sneaking out and letting boys into the room. This night, I smoked marijuana for the first time, and I gave away pieces of myself that I can never get back. I allowed my friend to tempt me with fleshly wants and desires, and at this time, I didn't think of the consequences that would follow. Galatians 5:16 says, so I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. If you keep your eyes on him, then when temptation falls, you can walk away. After that night, marijuana became a big part of my life. I said, it's only one time. But after that, I started doing it a lot more. That same year, my granny passed away, so I told myself I would never do that again. Then I let my friends and family tempt me with marijuana, and I had had a taste of some of the devil's fruit, and I liked it. The devil is good at tempting you with something that looks pretty great on the outside, but in the end, you suffer more. By the time I turned 15, I decided I didn't want to go down that road, so I started to do other things. I would go to Florida and get drunk with my friends and not care what happened to me. I felt as if my life was falling apart because by this time, my dad was seeing someone new. I just couldn't handle it. After a few months, I went on a retreat with my church. That weekend, I let a lot go, and I decided I wanted to be clean. Little did I know, the devil had other plans. When I came back, I was doing great, but my friends wanted to hang out again. They pulled out a blunt, and they sparked up. The pit in my stomach was so big that I couldn't breathe. They were like, come on, Jade, just do it, just like everyone. I felt like there was no way out. I let temptation win, and I did exactly what the devil wanted me to do. My favorite verse is 1 Peter 5:7. It says, "Cast all your care on him, for he cares for you." I started to live by this. Temptation has a way of creeping back in, and it means desiring to do something you know is wrong. We all know what's wrong and right. We just get blinded by the world. Temptation does not come from God. It comes from our own fleshly desires. And Jesus was tempted just like we are. Mark 1:13 says, "He was in the wilderness being tempted by Satan." Sometimes we forget that Jesus was one of us. He just didn't sin. He was tempted greatly during his time on earth. Everyone goes through temptation, and the closer you get to God, the more the devil tempts you. I went on a retreat with my church, but when I came back, I felt completely changed. I didn't have the desire to listen to music with curse words or be around people who curse. I just felt really different. Now remember, I've had taste of the devil's fruit before. So the day I came back, I rode home with a boy I had been talking to. Temptation started as soon as I sat down. Music came on, and then he kissed me. Somehow, I ended up in the driver's seat, door open, on my back, with a boy in between my legs. The butterflies that usually came turned into bees swarming inside of me. I couldn't breathe. I asked him to stop kissing me, but he didn't. I asked again, and he replied, "It's okay." I pushed him off and told him to go home. I had no words after that. I was shaking. I felt so dirty and ashamed. I went in my room and I began to cry. The feeling of guilt and shame wouldn't go away. I didn't know what to do next. I really didn't want to tell my mom because I felt like she would be disappointed and mad at me. I didn't want anyone to know how I was truly feeling, so I pretended to be okay. 2 days later, I left for a cruise. I was really excited, but the pit in my stomach grew a lot larger. During the trip, I would wait for everyone to fall asleep, and then I would go watch the waves to try and be okay. But the scene would play over and over again in my head, and the disgust in myself grew, and I would cry. I knew worse could have happened to me, but the shame and guilt wouldn't leave. I decided to start praying when the scene would pop up. And all those feelings would disappear. I knew God could fix me because Psalm 147:3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds their wounds." This verse started to help me get through my day. Don't let temptation creep its way in. Everyone falls and no one is perfect. But don't let temptation stay. Never forget that you are worthy and there's nothing too dirty for God. He's always been there. Maybe it's time to listen. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, "God is faithful. He will never let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but when you are tempted, he will also allow a way out so you can endure it." Don't let worldly things take up what should be time with God. Temptation is everywhere, but keep your eyes on him. Thank you. There's nothing What was dead now lives again. My heart's beating inside my chest.